Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I'm Bill.
Charles. Oh, well, I'm Charles. I just listened.
Should I go? I'm Seth.
I'm Jenna.
I'm Chris.
And we're going to be talking about an interesting new horror series that's came out on Netflix recently. And I don't think it's gotten a lot of advertisement or promotion or whatever, as I don't think most of the rest of the folks on the podcast here had heard of it before I brought it to their attention. But it's called Brand New Cherry Flavor, and it's kind of a wild ride, I guess. How would you sum it up, Jenna?
I would read the Netflix description because it's perfect. Chris, do you have that in front of you, or do I need to zoom that or Google that?
I'll get it real quick.
Because it's perfectly. They did a good job. Whoever wrote that, whatever intern.
Yeah. So a filmmaker heads to Hollywood in the early '90s to make her movie debut. Tumbles down a hallucinatory rabbit hole of sex, magic, revenge, and obviously kittens. So
and obviously kittens.
Yes, obviously kittens. Because why not?
Now
we're not joking about the kittens either. There's a lot of kittens, and
I don't remember seeing rabbits.
I need a quick clarification. Is that sex magic, as in sex magic, or sex, magic?
It's both.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I think for the audience, we should let them know that all of us have seen the entire series, except for Seth, because Seth's internet went out. We had a storm here about a week ago, and the winds knocked a branch off of a tree in his yard, and it tore down his internet connection. And we don't know how he's been surviving without internet. So he's actually on the podcast in my basement because his internet's still out.
I mean, the shakes are pretty bad. The headaches are starting to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
Mostly I just try and keep myself very, very drunk.
How are you handling the tremors when you try to drink a beverage or something?
Well, I mean, I'm wearing a clean shirt now. I have to change a couple times.
I'm pretty sure there's a ritual in there somewhere in Brand New Cherry
sacrificing a cat.
I mean, sippy cups help with the internet shakes, but it's not perfect. And whiskey out of the sippy cup just isn't the same.
So safe to say, everyone, lots of spoilers if you haven't seen it. So if nothing else, I hope it encourages you to go see it because it's a roller coaster mind fuck.
It is. And
yes,
that's an
understatement.
Yeah, Seth and I met for dinner tonight, and I kind of gave him probably a 20,000 foot view, not very high up view. It was kind of fairly descriptive. And it was enough that Katie's now, his wife's excited to go watch it. So.
Oh yeah, no, this is totally a Katie show.
Yeah, she seemed really interested. I just want to know Bill, what height do you think is a high level view?
90,000 foot.
90,000.
Okay. All right.
I kind of think that 20,000 is
pretty
high.
No, it's down there.
I would have said you gave me like the 20-foot view.
Well, that would work as well.
20,000 is very high, Bill.
But not as high as 90. I mean, at 20,000, you can still breathe.
Hey,
it's all relative.
We need to get Seth internet back.
We do.
Online.
Oh, don't worry.
Online before he goes making deals with Hollywood witches.
Yeah,
yes.
right.
So,
right.
The story starts out with this young, up and coming writer, director, filmmaker, Lisa Nova, and she goes into I believe it was it LA?
Yeah.
To
Hollywood.
meet a filmmaker who apparently wants to make her movie, Lou, and in their discussions and negotiations, he's going to take her to a party one night, and on the way there he makes a typical douchebag move. I'm going to put my hands on your legs. Hey, we're getting along quite fine. I think we can take her to the next level of this friendship. And she puts his hand away and is like, no, that's not what this is. This is strictly business. And things start going downhill from there. And he takes the movie from her. And she ultimately meets this witch and goes on this revenge quest, for lack of a better word. And that's what we'll be kind of talking about today. It was pretty nuts.
And I kind of got the impression from the film that, so the witch's name is Boro.
Yes.
And I got the impression that she actually sort of orchestrated Lisa Nova's whole trip to LA.
No, she admitted it, that she felt whatever power surge came out of Lisa in the woods while filming. And was like, what? And called it to her. Because Boro has been living over 900 years and she's ready for a younger, more powerful body.
Right.
Yeah. To explain Boro, this witch, it's a magical entity, if you will, or some kind of spiritual entity that jumps bodies. It seems like after a while. So
she explains itself.
Yeah. Yes. So apparently, so Boro started out life as a warrior, a male warrior in some tribe. In South America, I guess.
Yeah. She said not far from Lisa's home, because Lisa is from Brazil. Her mother's from Brazil. Her father's American. And all we know about her past is that she's never known her mother, doesn't even know what she looks like, and had left when she was a baby.
Yeah. So anyway, so in this 900 year ago time frame or whatever, or maybe further back, Boro was this male warrior, and he ran into this magical, was it a panther? Leopard?
Jaguar.
Oh, jaguar. White jaguar. That was actually a spirit entity. And he ended up having sex with the spirit jaguar. And as a result, it was so good, I guess, for the jaguar that the spirit jaguar gave this warrior a piece of its supernatural power to allow the warrior to become the prince or the king of his area, and to help him with battles. Well, there was a price for that. So he got that, but then he wanted to see who his enemies were, or where they were that were coming to get him after he became this powerful king.
You're on the right track, though, Bill, because there was a price for all of that. He had to
the price was
the occasional sacrifices.
The price. I thought the price was, though, for him being able to get the vision to see where his enemies were, and that's
that
where
was for the greater magic.
Oh.
Up to that point, he had to provide sacrifices to the jaguar to keep his fortune coming.
So anyway, the jaguar decided he wants the king's wife, and so the king pulled the old switcheroo on the jaguar and gave him a different woman that wasn't his wife, and so the jaguar got furious with that, as one would.
I mean, when you're expecting a wife,
right,
and you get not the wife that you're expecting,
right?
I mean, you're gonna
you're
gonna have some problems.
Yeah,
I mean, I can understand that.
And so
on the jaguar's side,
so the jaguar decided to
it's like choosing a steak at the restaurant, right?
What's that?
Never mind.
What's great about all this, though, is that when you're getting this background, there's no flashbacks, there's no fantasy. You're never taken out of this 90s vibe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really adds to the whole atmosphere, is because it feels like very believable 90s.
Yeah.
From the filth and the grunginess of the elements of Hollywood that they're in, to the low tech, to the music and the style of fashion, which you had to laugh because some of that fashion is making appearance again right now.
Yeah.
But there's this weird, even if there wasn't magic, there's almost this otherworldly element to the time period in the show.
Yeah. And so anyway, the what was it again? Panther? Leopard?
Jaguar.
It's a jaguar.
Anyway, the cat.
The big kitty.
The cat ends up getting killed, I think, by Spanish conquistadors and made into a sofa.
Yep.
That's what Boro says, but we don't know if Boro's lying. We never quite know if Boro's lying.
No,
Right.
but we did see the sofa turn into a cat later in underneath the trap door, right?
It didn't.
Yeah, you
turn
do
into
see like
cat,
a
though.
sofa
It
that
just
looks like the
was
Jaguar.
sofa.
That's just looking like, what the fuck?
Look, people, we said it was a trippy
Yeah.
movie. We did.
Right.
Fair warning. What we're talking about all happened in real life.
All happened right
But here's
In real
the thing.
life.
right before our eyes.
Here's what you have to wonder, though. Does the spirit only portray what other things perceive it to be? So it appears as her mother, which we're never quite confirmed if it actually is her mother. She could have
Right.
just been using Lisa.
True.
Or
You get to
and
Boro.
then that's Boro's story that she heard, and maybe that's the form it takes to look helpless to Boro.
Yeah.
Like
So the
we just
leopard
don't know.
couch, is using Lisa the filmmaker to get to Boro to exact revenge for the whole wife swaparoo thing still.
I
Yeah,
want
900 years ago.
to when I come up with the description for this episode, I want to use that exact sentence because I'm pretty sure someone will go, "Hey, are you okay? Did you just have a stroke?"
Yeah, right. Yeah. So so it's pretty interesting. So the slimy film producer that tried to put the moves on Lisa Nova, he ends up stealing her movie. And this movie is kind of like it is the end all be all for Lisa Nova. It's her thing. And so when he steals that movie, that drives her into the arms of Boro, essentially, where she goes and asks for her help in getting her movie back and exacting revenge on the film producer. And so that's when things really start to get strange.
And
Because let's be honest, Elisa's kind of emotional.
Yes.
she is.
She's obviously got some mother issues and thought that her mother would see this film and know it was from her and maybe come back. That's the insinuation.
Right.
And, for all she knows, her girlfriend just disappeared on her, who's an actress in the movie that comes back to haunt Lisa for abandoning her in the house in the filming where the incident happened.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to give away what the incident is in the film, because I think that's it's so they kind of tease it all throughout the series.
That something happened in the film. Right.
Yeah, something happened out in the wilderness in this house where Lisa was making her movie called Lucy's Eye. And it's a short horror film that she's making out there, and everybody that sees it watches the whole thing, and I think, like us watching a brand new cherry flavor, it's as disturbing as the show we're watching, but then at the end there's a hugely disturbing thing that nobody can figure out how she pulled that off, being just a small filmmaker with no really advanced special effects abilities. And so everybody is just shocked and horrified by the ending, and they can't figure it out. And that's what draws people to this film and to want to make it, and people to want to pay to have it made, and people to want to produce it. And there's an actor that wants to be in it, and there's a director that wants to direct it that's not Lisa Nova, and that's kind of what sends her off on her quest for revenge.
Because he's a less able director who was an acquaintance. I mean, it's basically the only thing she feels like she has in her life. She's living out of her car.
Right.
And everybody's taking it from her.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
she's not going to play the Hollywood games of sleeping with anyone to get what she wants. So
yeah,
rather than play games, she'd rather play with dark magic.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think what makes the show compelling is that Lisa Nova, like many of us, is a flawed character, right? So she's
Speak for yourself, Bill.
she's not a perfect person, and as these things happen to her, she makes choices that are not necessarily the right choice, but in that moment of making those choices, most of us watching the film might not be sure what we would do in that case. Would we actually be so furious that we wouldn't care what the price was? We'd want to exact revenge on someone for them wronging us in the way where they took this thing that is the most important part of our identity they stole from us. And as the film goes on and she makes increasingly poorer and poorer choices, I think as an audience, you're watching that and thinking, shit, I don't know what I would do in this situation. What would I do at this point?
She lives a no regrets type of like philosophy when she's making decisions. She doesn't take a whole lot of time.
Right.
And I get that. Her one mission is revenge against Lou. Make no mistake.
And to get her movie back.
Decisions are based off of what is the next thing to do to hurt Lou.
Right.
And it ultimately she ends up leaving this wreckage of this trail of, we'll call it
carnage,
dead bodies behind her and carnage. And there is a scene where that gets called out to her. Everything you touch basically dies.
Yeah. Some of the fun in this, I think, is if it wasn't for all the black magic, it would be a really cute Lifetime movie.
I forgot, Charlotte.
Well,
how dare you?
Yes. Well, now for the guy, well, even for Jenna too. As you're watching this film, if, as in this movie, in order to get this revenge magic to work, you have to get the pubic hairs from your victim. Would you, as the victim, go to this Lisa Nova and just let her rip off your pubic hairs because you think it's a joke?
That was one of those, that's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that plays out for him type of scenes there. That was, the guy just, and this, I mean, what Bill just said literally happens, okay? He gets wind of, Lisa's trying to do some crazy witchcraft, place a curse on him, and she needs his pubic hairs. And he's like, this is bullshit. I'm just going to go over there and offer it myself.
And here's what I was waiting for, like with it being the early 90s and some of the stuff he brought, I was shocked there was no like Witches of Eastwick reference that would like make him kind of demean it, or even The Craft. I think The Craft comes a little bit later than this timeline as a movie, but like this is early 90s and there was those phases of big Wicca, like people doing magic or whatever and getting into it. So you'd have to wonder.
I wonder if they.
I was waiting for those references.
That just for not wanting to have to pick a more specific era there in terms of, who she belonged to or anything like that. But no, that's a valid point for the 90s. But I mean,
the Craft came a little later, like 96. So it's like, but there's other popular magic movies that I think they could have played off of to show like, Hollywood's kind of weird. And there is a market of fortune tellers and all this type of stuff there for people to get what they want.
But I mean, also, no one's ever seen a zombie movie in a zombie movie. So,
right. True.
Maybe this is a witch movie. No one's ever seen a witch movie before.
That could be.
So one interesting point in that, other than the scene in the set, I mean, they called out that it was the 90s, but they really didn't go into any other kind of cultural references in there or anything like that.
Yeah, true.
So that was, they basically stayed on message of what this was about. I appreciated that because it kept things moving. I guess there wasn't a lot of unnecessary. I don't know if it would be necessary or whether it would come out as unnecessary. There wasn't a lot of references beyond that. You knew the time period. I thought it was filmed very well for showing the 90s.
Yeah.
But they stuck to a lot of screen time on the actors, not a lot of, it was a lot of good dialogue and a lot of effed up moments. So many effed up moments. Like the pubic hair thing we were just talking about.
Right.
I mean, imagine a guy that's like, oh, you're going to put a curse on me. And this speaks to how much of a douche he is, right? So he comes into her apartment, like completely unwelcome, uninvited, just like, hey, I heard you need some pubes. Zip,
and then she reaches over and
she
rips
goes
them
right
off.
up and takes it.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't cut him off. She rips him off.
Yeah, she rips him off. He took that pretty well, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I would have taken that well.
So he was just kind of like, this is not the first time I've done this. Joke's on you. I'm
He
into it.
probably did cocaine before going over there.
That's true. He was a cokehead for sure.
True.
Uh,
I'm going to let the three of you decide. I want one of you to kind of explain the side-gina.
Okay.
I would call it the kitten-gina.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Okay.
Chris is going to take a stab at it.
But it's one of those horror boner moments, okay? Where, oh my gosh.
You have to give the background. So here's the
Yes.
thing. But you have to discuss the payment.
Yeah.
Yes, please dive into that.
Laurel said it's going to cost you, it's going to be expensive. She says, whatever, I'll pay whatever you want. No details are exchanged as to what the payment's going to be. She just starts randomly vomiting kittens, and Boro's zombies go get these kittens for Boro. And we ultimately find out she's extracting either the blood or the life force from these kittens that Lisa is vomiting every so often.
It's detailed,
tells
people.
Boro.
It is
Detailed.
It is
It's a detailed kitten vomit.
Yeah.
A little kitten comes out. No shit.
A nice little white kitten.
Yes. And so she tells Burrow at one point, I'm done throwing up kittens. No more vomiting kittens. And Burrow's like, okay, Chris.
Yeah. So
Continue.
fast forward to
Tag in.
seems to be growing. I thought it was like a gill at first or something weird. Because she's growing it like right next to her rib cage.
On the side, on
she's
her
like,
on her
this is
right
a whole
side.
new pain.
Yep.
And it turns out she grew a vagina
Yes.
on her side. Doesn't look like a vagina, but it's
Exactly.
clear what it is because she starts birthing.
But it's
it out of
obvious
there
that
now.
yeah, but it's obvious that she gets sensual pleasure from touching
Yes, and that was the awkward horror boner part. So she starts feeling around, because she's like, oh my God, I've now got this, I've grown a new hole in my body. And as she starts to like finger it, she's like, oh my God, that
feels good.
really good. And then
And then
she
kitten.
realizes how
Oh, it didn't
painful
feel
is.
good anymore.
Yeah, pops a kitten out of there, and then that was crazy. However, what's even weirder is her boyfriend. Okay, well, this guy, actor guy, but we'll call him the boyfriend for lack of a better word because he's more of a friendly benefits, I guess.
Yeah, right.
No, I would call because she doesn't give a shit about him other than
She
he's
doesn't.
useful at times.
Yeah, he's just going to be in the film. So
Right.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with her because he has a death wish because of a dark, tragic background.
yes,
And obviously, the longer he's around her, he sees death, destruction, and magic.
yes. So this is where the weird stuff comes in even more. This is maybe halfway through the series, and he comes in because all he does is he hears this screaming and this agony, busts into the bathroom. Hey, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. And ultimately, they have this moment, and she's like, "Yeah, could you put your fingers in here? Like we're doing this. We're gonna have this intimate moment here." And ultimately, you've heard of some fisting. This is a whole new thing.
So they're having missionary style sex.
Yeah, we're now
And
fisting
he
this.
begins fisting her side gina.
Yes.
Here's the thing, though. I'm not even sure if he got everything, and if it wasn't just like tangent moment that it got him off. Like she seems like the all about her.
Right.
It was about her need to be sexually fulfilled at the time. So that was
Control, sir.
definitely an
Control.
awkward turn. I did not expect that.
Yeah, it was definitely the strangest DP
yes
movie I've ever seen.
Yes. Like
Beth was not ready to have this conversation in person with you, Bill.
At a loss for words.
Hey, Seth, he officiated my wedding, so I don't want to hear it.
So
I don't have any questions here that we can put on the air. No.
We're definitely losing our clear rating over this show.
So side Gina sex happened.
That was the clear rating right there. Side Gina sex happened.
Here's the thing. When the show started, Lisa had what I would call a normal reaction to like someone telling you that they're going to do some weird ass magic shit, right?
Uh-huh.
And as she gets into this and starts exacting her revenge and weird things start happening, I mean, she lights a guy on fire with her mind basically at one point, which I thought would maybe come to fruition with some other powers that she might have, but they never really dug into that, which I was kind of disappointed with, but maybe right. Another season will lean into that. But everyone else from that point on really took things rather well for the strange things that were happening around them. And not once, if I'm thinking about this correctly, did anyone think that like we should call the police? We should call some kind of authority. There was no cops the entire show.
Right.
No,
Even to the point where there are gunfights, people.
Well, it's the 90s. That's
were there no cops in the 90s?
Well, wait, no, there were cops there because remember when they broke into.
You're not calling LA.
Oh, you're right.
Come on.
Yeah, the break-in.
The break-in.
But that was it.
That was it.
Like,
that was just a minor, break-in thing.
Lou Burke and Ron Hathaway cannot afford any cops involved. It's their reputation, so they're not calling the cops. Coda is a drug dealer, her friend, and his girlfriend's in real estate, so she can't afford to have her reputation with cops involved in LA. Nobody can afford the cops being involved.
Right.
Those are all valid points. But even when there's we're talking dead bodies, blood everywhere. But you're right. At some point, everyone had something to lose if they went to the authorities.
And there's no internet. I think there was since people go missing in LA all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, when you've got a girl who can set you on fire with her mind, I think you've got more to lose than if you go to the police about it.
And I have to wonder, though, because remember at that party where she set that guy on fire, because he was the guy that took over directing her movie.
Right. He was the guy that was going to take directing a movie.
Right. So Boro was also at that same party and sort of spurred her on. And I have to wonder if Boro helped her make that happen.
I think it was the pollen. Yeah. When she took she wasn't supposed to take the pollen too. So when they both took it, it increased her and Lou a symbiotic reaction.
That could be. What'd you think about the worm in the? So, Bill
told me about this one. Nope.
No, Seth's not going there.
Nope.
Yeah, we got to talk about
the eyeball.
Yeah, we got to talk about the worm. We do.
Yeah.
Oh, now that it'll hurt me again, you have to talk about. Okay, that's fine.
Before we get to the worm though, she does start her curse, and she's so hell bent on revenge. She starts getting frustrated and looks for ways to escalate it, and that's what leads to the worm. Because it starts with this annoyance where Lou starts having these hiccups nonstop. Right. They're driving him nuts. But that's not good enough for
Lisa Nova.
So when she goes back to the witch, and of course, every time she's got to pay something, but now she's got this worm or some pollen from a flower that she needs to do. She catches Lou one night, snorting up some cocaine, and decides to mix her stuff up in there with it. And that was a treat.
Yeah, he ends up snorting the cocaine and the pollen, which is supposed to more rapidly produce these life on fire effects because it wasn't happening fast enough for her. And he snorts the pollen and the worm. And so we don't really see the worm again until...
Was the worm ground up? Or
No, he was wriggling.
Yes. This was a live worm.
I'm not an expert on cocaine, but I don't think it has much of a wormy tendency.
Well, it was
a
He
very
was already
small
fucked
worm.
up from the party.
It was a
Was
very
it- it was
small
a-
worm, and it was buried in the cocaine, and the guy just did the line and sucked it right in without realizing it.
Okay,
But
that's
then-
horrifying.
But then
I don't
as
like
the
it.
guy sort of gets these, he can't sleep because he's having these horrible nightmares. So he's got these
And
black
these
dark circles
migraines
around his
and-
eyes, and his eyes are bloodshot, and he's just had it, and he's ready to give Lisa Nova back her movie. He just wants to be let go, and he even is willing to have her kill him. He says, "Kill me, just put me out of my misery at this point." And
So he's got to know it. Like, so he definitely knows at this point that she cursed him.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
With the
Yeah.
He
pubes
says
that
that.
he
Right.
gave
yeah.
or donated.
Yeah,
And up
he
to this
figures that
point-
out quite a while back, and that's when he hires the killers to try to murder her.
Yeah, especially when as collateral unintended, collateral damage, Lou's son gets involved in this and ends up getting killed as well in this whole process. So that's really what sends Lou off over the edge in terms of I'll do anything, I'll hire killers. And basically these two are like hell bent on, tit for tat, revenge, line items against each other back and forth.
It just
because-
escalates, like little things. Like it was supposed to be something simple,
Yep.
and it escalates. The one hurt begot to new hurt, begot to worse hurt, which
Yeah,
it's an age old in a way. It's got that universal theme of
right. Taking things too
you
far.
need to stop
Right,
the
yeah.
escalation.
But
And
he
Go ahead,
knows
Seth.
that she cursed him, and yet for some reason she's still there to with access to his cocaine.
Oh yeah, because he invites her to parties because he
Yeah,
wants
Because he
takes
her-
him a
didn't
while.
believe it at that point.
yeah, he
He
doesn't
wants-
really believe in the curse until
Right.
shit really hits the fan, like late
Right.
in the series.
and plus
But
he
the whole
also
time, he's
wants
not
her
really
to
a
be
believer.
an assistant director on the project because the
Mhm.
director that he's got doing it is a jackass idiot, or at least had until he went up in flames.
He wasn't the talent that she was, and he's hoping to still get like side periphery benefit of her
Helping.
giving perks on the movie as they're making it, because it's not just the special effect that attracts people. Her whole eye and how she filmed and directed it created an atmosphere, and that the ending sequence is just the cherry on the top.
So to speak.
The brand new flavored cherry on
Mhm.
the top.
Yeah.
So that worm comes back at the end when Lou's at his last, and he's all of a sudden he starts screaming, and this worm is wriggling coming out of the inside corner of his eye, and you see the worm sticking out, and it's just about as long as the worm that she dropped in the cocaine, but it looks like it's just stuck in the corner of his eye, and he's saying, help me, and so she gets some tweezers or something and starts trying to take the worm out, but the worm is a lot longer now than it used
Basically
to be.
a tapeworm.
Yeah. So she starts winding it around a pencil or something to pull it out of his eye, rolling it out, and it's like, I don't know how long, 3-4 feet probably.
Yeah,
I
it was
wish
a
you
few
weren't
feet.
enjoying this so much, Bill.
I'm enjoying watching Seth squirm here as he thinks about the eye being pulled out.
This is the thing. This movie is dark,
Maybe
well
it's
acted,
dark.
incredibly unique. And I do think if you like movies and you're open to new experiences, you should see it.
Yeah.
1000%. I enjoyed it beginning to end. It was definitely, I have not had a, what the fuck type emotion to a movie.
Yeah.
And I also, interestingly enough, reflecting back on it, I never really got attached even to the main character. We know that's Lisa Nova, but she makes it, to Bill's point earlier, so many bad decisions.
Right.
It's not that you hate her, but it's really hard to like her or root
Right.
for her because
Well,
you're
that,
like,
that
why
was a
don't you just
problem.
walk away?
That was a big problem for me early on. Was there's a point where you feel bad for her, but you are kind of like, without the black magic, you are like, well, what do you think was going to happen?
Right.
Yeah, really, in the
you start out
90s.
feeling bad for her, and then you lose pretty much all of that sympathy when you get to the end, because it's clear how hell-bent she is on revenge.
Yeah.
That she's literally, she doesn't care who is impacted by it,
Or
she
what it
doesn't
costs.
care who gets killed by it. And
Yeah.
even when her own life is threatened, where she gets beaten to a pulp,
Yeah.
when she's miraculously healed by the witch lady because magic,
Yeah.
she goes right back at it.
Yeah.
Okay, and that part is crazy. So she, but I mean, look, the guy did her wrong. That was like her only thing in life that maybe she had worth living for, and yeah, he picked the wrong woman to take the movie from.
I want to say though, she could have just killed him.
Yeah,
No,
that
that
would have been a
wasn't
whole
good
lot
enough.
easier, frankly.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah.
Like, it seems like that just would have been far less trouble for everyone involved. Is like
but at that
No, but
point,
you don't know what he did. You don't know how he treated her
right.
when she tried to confront him about losing the film. And you know he's done this to other people
Yeah.
and has built a lot of wealth by being an asshole, a
Yeah.
sexist asshole.
But she
And-
wasn't doing this for the others. To
No,
be
but
but yes, the guy
Well,
did
and the-
deserve what was coming.
And the other thing is, if she would have just killed him, she wouldn't necessarily have gotten the movie back because it would have been part of the estate.
Well,
because the whole time, Seth, he's mocking her. He's
He-
shoving in her face that he took something to her
Yeah.
and she's powerless, and she just needs to suck it up and
yeah,
do what he
And
says because
I
that's
sort
the
of thought of
industry's
this
power.
as with her. There's a virgin montage happening, right?
what?
Cherries and kittens and stuff, and heavy petting, and But I thought of it as her virginal experience of power, kind of building. It's kind of why it's sort of clumsy with her, is because she's not been in power before.
Yeah.
mhm.
Even though to me black magic's cheating, kind of, but nonetheless, this was her first experience of power, and I think that added to it's like I said, it was a montage. That's part of the flavor.
I don't know. I thought she did have power when she was making her movie as the director, because at one point she kicks everybody out because
Right.
I suppose.
Yeah, that shows her power. I agree that she knows how to take authority,
yeah,
and she can command a room in terms of presence.
yeah,
But it also spoke to her, I think, her character a bit, and how she kind of treated her crew,
yeah,
and
even the main actress.
yeah, right. And even the main actress in her film feels like she's might be being used, being taken advantage of.
Sure.
So it very well could be that through this whole trip that you take, because that's what it is. It's a trip, and you pick your drug and you watch this series, whether that's alcohol or whatever. But this whole trip is almost like a revealing of her character, and then it's not as good as people may make it out to be. And then when she's given, when she's wronged, how nasty she can get in wanting revenge. Because don't forget her rant to the witch was, I got wronged, but I want him to hurt. And she was so hell-bent on that.
Yeah.
And people get screwed all the time, but not all of them result to wanting to see a level of hurt that they can't really define, which resulted in the kind of this chaotic thing, because she was like, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. We need to do more. Let's accelerate this. Let's make this, that, and the other happen. And this trail of wreckage she did, that's all on her, regardless of how everyone's reacting to her at that point of the film, when things kind of fall to shit. Everyone's kind of reacting to everything she's trying to do to hurt one guy.
Yeah. Right.
This is why you don't give Latinas black magic.
Vicious.
I say that as a Latina.
Well, and I don't know about you guys, but I think the whole thing for me would have ended at the point where I had to eat that stew.
Don't want to know. I already don't want to know. You can.
You shouldn't know, Seth, because you need to go watch it. And at this point, I think the rest of our audience should go watch it too and get the experience.
I mean, I'm gonna end up watching it because he's already sold my wife on it, and I'm along for this ride. So,
But I don't care about
watch
you
it on
anymore,
a full
Seth. It's about the
stomach.
audience. The audience needs to go watch it now.
Right.
Yes.
Right. All right.
Jenna, that kind of hurts me a little bit.
Well, I tell you what, next time we get together, you will have watched it and we'll just do a quick update as to what you thought of it, Seth.
No, what we need is Katie taking reaction shots randomly throughout the film.
Right.
And then sharing them with
Especially
us later.
halfway through. Was it episode 4?
It was the end of episode 4.
Yeah. Episode 4.
That's the weirdest boner.
Yeah, I put my reaction in the Discord chat after that.
Yeah.
Right after I watched
That was
it.
classic.
So, hearing all this, I've got one question.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna, what would you have done?
Oh, she would have gone full out.
She probably
No, I
just
wouldn't have
killed the dude.
escalated so quickly. I would have been more patient, I think. But
Even if
also
he
funny.
strangled you and threw you on the hood of your car.
No, he would have. I wouldn't have needed the curse at that point.
That's what I was. The way I was originally going to phrase the question is, Jenna, what would you have done, and why so many knives?
We'll say
Nice.
that for another episode.
All right.
Oh,
So
that next episode, Jenna, what would you have done, and why so many knives?
there we go. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, folks. We hope we've whetted your appetite enough to watch this if you haven't already seen it. And if you have, or when you finish watching it, please let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Maybe what was your most disturbing aspect of the film, or what you thought of Lisa Nova. It sounds like Netflix is in discussion with the people that wrote it to do a second season now based on its popularity. So
I, for one, would be down for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully they can capture lightning in a bottle the second time and get it going. So anyway, thank you all for watching. And tune in next time. We'll have some more interesting stuff to talk about. So take care.
Well, remember to check us out on YouTube, as well as any of our other many podcasting
Streaming
sources.
services. Yeah.
And you can also find us on synergynation.net.
Yep.
SYNNation.net.
And galacticdriftwood.space for all of our previous episodes if you want to hear more disturbing content. All right. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.